Welcome back. Typically, when we use hyperlinks on the web, we will use a word and then use that word to mask the link going back to a specific page. And that's typically called anchor text. So in some cases, a web page may have anchor text. In this case, it may have the anchor text with your keyword, and it will link back to certain sites. What we're asking Google to do when we use the all-in anchor parameter is to bring back the most relevant results that are being used as anchor text. So in this particular case, all we'll need to do is we'll write in all in anchor. Then we'll click a colon, and then we will hit enter. Now, once again, you're going to see a different set of results and a different set of top 10 results. You are looking at those sites that are being linked to using the anchor text with our keyword. It is another way and another view of getting relevance and for you to see another website that might have valuable information for your research or for competitive research. Okay, so with that, thanks, and I will see you in another video. Welcome back. Now, another way to actually look at our search information is to get more specific about where the words need to appear on the page. And we can use the around command in all caps so that we can determine the distance between terms that a word can appear. Let's take a look. So for example, we would use the term around in this case. We would use all caps. And then we're going to say that we only want there to be one word of separation between the two. So we're going to say in this case, and we're going to put that in parentheses. Now there can't be any spaces between all of these words, so we'll need to eliminate those. There can be a space here. So we've said low carb can only be separated by one word. So now we're going to click enter. And you'll see then that our search results are going to change again. And basically what you're going to see is that there are going to be a lot more instances where the words low carb diet appear, because we've said that we only want those pages where the words have this proximity, could only have one word separating them. We could change this now to 2, and we'll get a different set of search results. And you'll see that here. So the around command gives us control over how our keyword can appear in the search results when Google retrieves our results. Okay, so with that, thanks, and I will see you in another video. Now, in some cases, you will get to the end of your search results, and you'll see a message from Google that says something like this, that in order to show you the most relevant results, they've omitted some. However, you may want to have it so that you can get all of the search results shown. If you're going to do that, you're going to append the URL with a certain parameter. So we're going to place the cursor here, and what we're going to do is we're going to put in there filter equals 0 after the and sign. And so what we're going to do now is we're then going to click enter. Google will typically want to know if you are a robot. You'll say you're not, and you'll click submit. And what you're going to find then is that you're going to have a lot more search results showing at the very beginning, and they're not going to be filtered. So you'll have a different set of search results, and you'll actually be able to tell which ones might be more relevant to what you're doing than the regular search results from Google. Okay, so with that, thanks, and I will see you in another video. Typically, when you are doing a search, Google will attempt to bring you the most relevant results. And in some cases, it may or may not bring back the exact word. In this particular case, you can see that where the search term is dieting, and in some cases, Google brings back low carb diet, believing that this is most relevant. However, we may very well want our search to reflect only low carb dieting, and we can actually take care of that by going into our URL. We're going to go all the way to the end, and then we're going to put into the end and sign TBS equals LI colon 1. So we're going to put all that information into the end of our URL. And what we're going to do is we're then going to click enter. Now what's going to happen is that we are then going to only get the words low carb dieting, and we're going to get those words verbatim. And again, what we've done is we've eliminated the words low carb diet because we're assuming we want specifically these words low carb dieting. It is a way for us to narrow down our search even more and get better search results. Okay, so with that, thanks, and I will see you in another video. Now, it may be that we want to find out if there is any local activity around our keyword. Now, in this particular case, our keyword is low carb dieting. So what we want to do is we want to go to the URL. We want to hit Control End, come all the way to the end, and then we're going to put in another search parameter to append our URL. And you'll see that URL is &, TBM equals LCL. And what we're going to do is we're going to hit local. And what you'll see here is that Google says that there are no local results. But the search engine does go to look to try to find anything within its database that says that there's something local with respect to these keywords. So again, this is a great way of being able to even drill down even further into your keyword and to see its local relevance. Okay, so with that, thanks, and I will see you in another video. Welcome back. When you are looking for third-party verifiable information as well as scientific studies, you can actually visit googlescholar.com. You can find it at scholar.google.com. And you'll want to use this search area as if you were looking for studies, or if you were looking for surveys, or if you were looking for research. So for example, if we were going to look for research on low carb dieting, we could put in our search term. And what you're going to find is you're going to find a number of different kind of results. Primarily, what you're going to get access to are academic and some professional studies. In some cases, you will not get the entire article. You may get access to some of the findings, and you may have to go beyond that or have a subscription to get the actual study. However, in most cases, you can look at the abstract, and the abstract will give you the basic and the most concise understanding of what the study actually says. And in most cases, this will probably be enough for you to summarize what the study says as well as to quote it in something that you are doing. Google Scholar will also allow you to create an alert where you can have new items sent to you. But one of the most important things that you'll want to do is you'll want to be able to take your operators and you'll be able to use them inside of Google Scholar. So in some cases, we might use a symbol operator and get a different set of results. So you want to take your cheat sheet and you want to use different sets of some of the search elements to use it to find different items in Google Scholar. But taking your search term will actually give you the opportunity to get third-party verifiable information that you can use as proof and or social proof. Okay, so with that, thanks, and I will see you in another video. Welcome back. Now, another way to use Google Scholar is also to look for legal research. And in order to do that, all you really need to do is to click the case law button. And what you can do is you can actually search for the level of court that you are going to be looking for the information from. So for example, if we wanted to select a certain court, we can actually select that court inside of Google Scholar to modify our search results. And then what we're going to do is we're going to put our search term in the box. So in this particular case, we're just going to put in dieting to see if there is any case law regarding that. And you'll notice then that we have case law that is related to dieting. Now, of course, we'll want to narrow this down and we'll want to use our search operators, but this is a very good way of being able to do research behind the scenes on certain topics. We can also search for topics at the federal level and or at the state level. So what you want to do is you want to narrow down where you are looking for law or precedent, and then do your search within Google Scholar. Okay, so with that, thanks, and I will see you in another video. Welcome back. You are now looking at Google Books Ngram Viewer. You can visit this site by books.google.com/ngrams. It's spelled a little weird. You'll have to type in the letter N, then GRAMS. And basically what Ngram Viewer does is it calculates the popularity of a term within books from the years 1800 to 2000. So in some cases, you may find that your term may have been part of a published book, and you can write in your term, and it is another view of just how popular the term is. And so we can write in our term, low carb dieting, then we can click enter. And actually, you'll see that this was a term that did not appear before 2000. And so what we can also do in some cases is we can change the case, although that probably will not necessarily change this particular term. Now, of course, if we were to just use the term dieting, that word would probably appear lots of times in the course of the last years. And you'll notice that the term really picked up in popularity after the 1960s. So again, this is just another way of getting another view of your keyword. And if your keyword was one of those terms that would have been used prior to 2000, you may be able to get some insight on it. Okay, so with that, thanks, and I will see you in another video. Welcome back. Now in this video, we are looking at Google Correlate, which is actually a subset of the site Google Trends. And basically what Google Correlate does is it gives you an idea of what search term actually runs in parallel in popularity to your term. You can actually look at the term over time. You can actually look at the term geographically also. So for example, if we were to look at our term low carb dieting, we'll be able to look at which search terms ran parallel in terms of its popularity also close to low carb dieting. We can also look at it not only over time, but we can also look at it geographically. So we can look at which terms actually ran together with low carb dieting and which states those terms were most popular. So again, this is another view of our search term, and it's a way of being able to look at how popular a term is relative to other things in a particular area. Okay, so with that, thanks, and I will see you in another video. Welcome back. You are now looking at the search term, Think Insights, and there is a website that Google has called Think with Google. If you go to thinkwithgoogle.com, what this site actually is it gives us the marketing significance of certain topics in internet marketing as well as marketing in general. So what we can do is we can always look at our term in light of some of the research that Google has been doing. All we'll need to do is to use the search and then write in our search term. Now, it may be that our term doesn't have any particular relevance, so we might need to broaden it. And in this particular case, we might have to broaden it again. And what we'll start to see is that there is insight on broader terms when it comes to marketing from Google's perspective. Think with Google is divided into three basic areas: consumer insights, marketing research, and advertising channels. So if you want to understand your search term from a marketing perspective, you'll want to go to Think with Google and then place it inside of the parameters. And then if you don't find it, continue to broaden the term until you find the basic structure of where Google intersects your term. Okay, so with that, thanks, and I will see you in another video. Now, another way to look at our keyword is to look at it within a patent search. And Google has a patent search at patents.google.com. And you can actually access that website. And what you're going to do is you're going to write in your term. In some cases, you may have to narrow the term. In some cases, you may have to broaden the term. But as you write it out, what Google will do is it will actually go and look for patents with those search terms. Now, what you'll be able to do is you'll be able to look at all of the different ways that individuals and companies have looked to patent on those search terms. You can look at the top results by filing date, who filed, who the inventors were. You can also narrow down the terms inside of Google Patents as well as do it by date. So again, if you want to look at some pre-commercial activity on your keyword, you can actually do it through the patent search at patents.google.com. Okay, so with that, thanks, and I will see you in another video. In conclusion, we are now looking at research.google.com, and there is a certain subset of this site that will give you access to the published papers from individuals working at Google. And quite a bit of the work that Google does is research, and you can actually go to look for your search term to see if there is any research significance through Google. Now, of course, you may have to broaden your term or you may have to narrow it down, but you will typically be able to find that there has been some research done in proximity to a topic that you are looking at. So in this particular case, we're going to write in low carb. And this may not be of significance, so we might have to broaden out the search. And you'll see 19 published papers from individuals from Google. Now again, this doesn't mean that it will have direct relevance in terms of the research that you're doing, but it will give you insight as to what the people at Google are doing around your search term and how it relates to how it's being treated in the index. Most of the research is machine learning as well as marketing, but occasionally you will find some research that is behavioral in its approach. Okay, so with that, thanks, and I will see you either in another video or in another course.